As promised, I'm going to show you my top tip to help you strengthen your core and quite honestly just look, feel, and perform your best, okay? Now, it's a very common mistake that I see a lot of athletes make, even intermediate level athletes, and it's when you perform your core exercises, but you're driving with your hip flexors, right? So those are these muscles right here that if I was to perform a leg raise or pick up my knees, if I don't tilt my pelvis, that's the hip flexors doing the work. So if you've ever noticed when I do a leg raise or toes to bar or knee raises, you see that I tilt my pelvis because that's what's actually engaging my abs. That's when I'm leading with my abs. I'm using my abs. So this transverse abdominis muscle that essentially stabilizes, kind of zips up your core, that's what we want to be focusing on and utilizing, okay? And that's what I don't see many people doing. In fact, when you get that kind of pooch here, right, this sort of, you see the tummy sort of sticks out, I want that drawn in. Even when you're just standing, that should be zipped up. Belly button should be pulled into your spine, not out, sticking out like that, right? We want nice little curve in the spine, bum underneath you, not sticking out behind you, right under the body, belly button drawn in. Now this applies in particular, I want you thinking about this when you're doing your ab work. So if you cannot do a sit-up, let me make sure I'm in frame here. If you cannot do a sit-up without having to have somebody stand on your feet, we got a problem. And it's most likely because you've got your low back off the ground and you're leading with those hip flexors. So you're can't quite get up, right? However, I want you to think of it like this. Now, zip up those abs, pull the belly button into the floor, all right? So now you've got the transverse abdominis engaged, and from here, you should be able to sit up and slowly, slowly roll down almost vertebrae by vertebrae. That is going to show that you have good core strength, okay? Now, if you're saying to yourself, I can't do that, a tip would be, instead of putting something on top of your feet, put it behind your heels and pull in with your hamstrings to help deactivate the work of those hip flexors, and then bring your belly button into the spine, right, towards the floor, draw those heels in, and sit up again. So practice by putting something behind the feet, not on top of it, and pulling with those heels, utilizing the hamstrings to disengage those hip flexors. Another thing you'll notice when you're doing, let's say, traditional crunches, first thing should be tilt that pelvis, belly button to the ground, then crunch. Not here. With the back, I don't know if you can see it, this should not be happening. There should be no room. It should be down here in the ground, okay? Same thing with any scissor work. See if you guys can see me. When I extend those feet, I should have that low back on the ground. It shouldn't be up like this. No. Down. And then you can scissor, but you should not be here. You shouldn't have to do this. You should have enough strength to pull those abs down. And if you don't, you're gonna build it slowly over time. So you can try even just hollow man holds, even if it's just for a few seconds, and then rest, right? Draw that belly button in, touch the ground with the low back, and then rest if you need to. But that should always be the first thing you think about with any of your ab work, is engaging those transverse abdominis, making sure the belly button is drawn in towards the spine and the low back is on the floor. Most important thing. And you should be able to do a sit-up just like I showed you on the way up and on the way back. And when you can do that, you know that you have great core strength. And until you do, you will keep working the way I'm telling you to.